Friday, good evening, hello. Don't know what time it is, but it's probably around 7:30, 8 o'clock mark. And this is PC from Cortina City giving you just a little video this evening on Friday because we've not been out on the road. There's no scrap Cortinas come into town. We've nothing to go and rescue with the lockdown. So we have to scrabble around finding little bits of entertainment. So what we shall do tonight is give you a short video first as a kind of like bit of a warm-up for a live chat. So I'll charge the laptop up. We shall find a topic of conversation to actually film because you don't want to just be looking at me on the laptop all night. So I try and give ourselves some substance. And tonight's theme, last week's theme was the gearbox, tune-up and engine. This week's theme is Crypton. Let me go and show you. The Crypton machines are back. Let's go and have a little look. They're right over here. Come on. It's Crypton City, folks. Now, keen viewers will note there's already been a Crypton film, but not one like this. You'll see here my original Crypton machine. This was the sort of baby model. This is a runner. Okay, and it's in reasonably good order. It's even got a plastic jacket to go over that top. It's only the top part, that's the sort of base cabinet. That's what they're all like. So that's like the baby, the junior. Then you got mid and senior range. We've already covered them, but we're going to cover them again. So look, there's a Motorscope, there's the mid-range. Got these from eBay, and I'm buying more, because the problem is with OCD is you tend to, it's a bit like train spotting. Once you're into it, you're really into it. Once I'm into a Mk3 Cortina, I'm really into a Mk3 Cortina, whereby I want to know every nut, bolt, screw, sticker, reason behind it, spec sheet. That's the way it is when you're really obsessive about your hobby. I'm sure some of you know that out there. Well, now the Crypton bugs bit me, and I'm just Crypton crazy, folks. So quaff and type as we talk about the Crypton machines, and I'll tell you what I've learned so far with my research. Then you see what you've found out with your research, or your knowledge if you've used these machines. If you're a mechanic watching tonight, or if you're a hobbyist, amateur mechanic, or whatever you are, you may have bought one yourself because you've got a similar interest like I have with these really nice space age looking pieces of kit. First, I'll talk about the aesthetics, then we'll go into the sort of tech details, and then we'll share the goodies that I've found inside these machines from eBay. These are some great goodies here, folks. Really, really fantastic bits. Now, I apologise if this video overlaps. It's a more of an in-depth version of one about 20 videos back, 25 videos back, where you'll see we try and plug one of the, well, we do plug these in. We are going to be plugging them in, by the way, once they've reached room temperature. They're not far off it now. In here is 22 degrees in my garage. These have come out of a long-term storage, so they're needing to come up to temp. You should never switch these things on cold, okay? So we'll talk about that later. Here's our first one, the Crypton Motorscope. They're all Motorscope actually, but this is we don't know the exact model of this, but we can find out the model straight away. So first things first, let's find the model out. It's only an hour film tonight, by the way. So quaff and type. So we've got, what have we got there, folks? Type number FA63WB BD116. So it's a BD116. Bravo Delta 116. This one is, this also says Bravo Delta 116. Curious, seeing that this one's wider. Okay, let's do a comparison against the big brother versus the junior, or rather the senior versus the, how would you do that in family terms? But yeah, baby, junior, senior. So junior here with okay, we've got RPM and volts and dwell on that one, and ignition advance on this one. Curiously, a UV faded dial face there. We'd have to give that some attention to get that right. It's been in direct sunlight, that one. So that's got those. This also has those, yet the width here is wider. So what's creating that extra width on this machine? Can we spot it straight away? Because I'm looking as I'm filming this, I'm looking left and right, trying to compare the reason why. What have they stretched out there? The tubes are the same size. Those two gauges there are the same. Slight difference in cabinet width, of course. I can't work out if one has got any extra features over the other. This panel's slightly different than this one. It looks like these two models are the same, other than the screen's green on one. Well, actually, there's a difference. DYNAVISION by Haier and DYNAVISION then marked up Crypton. Now, did they merge? Did Crypton buy Haier out? Don't know. Now, this, I'm going to flip between the two. Apologies if this isn't following a particular narrative or a sort of chronological way. I'm going to flip between the two. We're not going to talk about the baby one on this film as much as we are these two. DYNAVISION here, look, we've got DYNAVISION here. This is what's called a CRT, cathode ray tube, and it's going to be used on these machines to monitor the primarily, although that's a bit of a pun, the primary and secondary sides of the coils. It's going to help you find stuff like ignition lead faults, even as stuff as crazy as your mixture being out can be identified by this. You wouldn't think that could tell that your mixture's out. Well, it can, because it's measuring spark, and spark conducts through gas differently depending on the amount of volume of petrol and air. The spark can track differently, and this can pick up minute changes in spark outputs, resistance and stuff like that on the HT leads, where you can, if you learn how to use the graph, the scale, the trace as you would call it, you can actually spot things that are wrong in your HT leads and your fuel mixture and your timing even. And the idea with this DYNAVISION system was to make a very quick way of diagnosing a fault. It's not so much about this can tune your car. Of course, it can help you to tune your car, and a good mechanic doesn't need one of these at all. But what these were, what it seems to me to be used for, was to save time, and time in the garage, as with many things, if not everything, time is money. So these tools, these motorscope tools, particularly with the cathode ray tube, the DYNAVISION, the CRT, particularly with that, you would be able to connect up quite quickly and get within a fault in a quick time. And they used to sort of call it zoning. Well, I do the same at work. We call it zoning in. It's also called funneling in tech terms, whereby you enter the mouth. If you imagine, let's say, this is a bit crazy, but let's just bear with me on this, because there's a method to me madness. Funneling as a technique for fault finding, or zoning in, that's the fault, is the neck of the funnel there. So it could be anything. There's the possibilities. And what you do is you end up narrowing it down until you're right down close and focused in. That's why we called it funneling when we're technicians. So you would use this to get you in dead quick to that focused point of what's wrong. For example, this could even detect a crack in your cylinder head, which other tests might not pick up if you've never been bothered to run a compression test. Sometimes it's hard to do compression tests on certain engines because of the plug access. There were times, certainly, when these machines would be connected up and used to save you time in diagnosing things. And the traces, which I was talking about, the lines which are drawn on the screen, they're the same pattern for virtually all engines, 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder and 8-cylinder. So once you've got used to looking for a certain trace, you'd be able to spot stuff. You can see stuff like bad points, bad coils, bad primary voltages, bad secondary voltages. As I say, sparking gaps, too wide a sparking gap, too narrow a sparking gap, many things on this. And in conjunction with the vacuum pressure and an RPM gauge, you can get your RPMs doing your throttle blips to see how it affects the rise and fall of the high voltage from the secondary windings of your HT side of your coil. All these things are used in this machine. Now, to hook them up, I'll show you the leads, how they hook up and how it does it so easily. But before I do, I'll finish off what I was saying about the DYNAVISION. DYNAVISION was actually an individual company. Well, Heyer was the individual company, and they registered this name DYNAVISION. This was probably late 50s, early 60s. This model's probably mid 60s, probably around 63, something like that. And DYNAVISION was the operating trademark, registered mark for Heyer, who make instruments, okay? And this was a standalone scope. This piece, if you look how it is, we'll come into this one. Look, they've just slotted it in. Here it is in this cone. That's the back of the tube. They put that metal on to protect the glass tube. Inside here is a glass, what's called a tube, a vacuum tube. It's almost like a light bulb, almost. And that glass tube there is exactly the same principles as the old school televisions. Of course, we have LCD and plasma now, but and OLED. Not so much plasma anymore, but this would be your old school television. Although this is not colour, it's only it's a black and white set, but the principle's exactly the same. And what Heyer have done, they must have licensed it out, I presume, to Crypton. As Crypton were developing, and that Crypton said we want a scope now, an oscilloscope. It's called an oscilloscope, by the way. We want one for our Crypton range, a tuning machine. So I'm presuming this, by the way. So they've just made it. They've bought the technology from Heyer. Okay, the DYNAVISION technology, and if you Google DYNAVISION, it comes up with plenty of information on the company, and they seem to be big in the 50s. It's kind of like that space age feel about it. Although this isn't just a gimmick, it actually is a great piece of kit. Nothing new about the CRT, of course. So you can tell that it's modular. There's just 2 plugs for the entire DYNAVISION system to mate up with the Crypton machine. Just 2 plugs. Here we have the output plug, which is going to have the feed for what's called the heater inside the neck of the tube. You can have your signal to it, your scan lines and stuff like this. All to do with television. And then the input to run it is on this lead here, so that's going to be connected to your sparking plug leads mainly, and your contact breaker points. So that's probably got about 5 or 6 cables in there that'll break out to the leads, which I'll show you at the front. So what we're saying is it's modular. This it's not completely integrated. It's almost just like a television that you just plug the input into, as though you would plug your VCR into your old television at home and you'd get the picture. That just plug in the Crypton information into that lead. So that's a totally standalone unit. And what they've done here is they've supplied a control box for it, which is not made by Crypton. It's badged up like that, but this is the controller for the television. And this does the inputs selections for depending on what test you're going to do. And you remember your old horizontal hold on your TV? You get it to flicker and there you go, nothing changes. So that's the controller. The bulk of the electronics on this Crypton machine will be contained within that control box there. That is the television, really, the television set control box. The same system almost on here. Okay, slight difference on this control box, I think. Don't worry, there's a plate off this that just goes over there. So actually I think they may be the same, both those boxes. So these 2 units share the same technology. Now this may be a later machine. They seem to have changed the typeface here. The Crypton typeface, they look like water decals. I think we're going to have water decals. I'm going to need to ask you, anyone out there know about if I'm going to get these decals made, these water transfers, how would I get that done? Have a look. We're going to need to be making these because it's going to get refurbed. How can I do stuff like this? Is it screen printed? That certainly doesn't feel like vinyl. That feels like an aluminium plate that's got print on it. So how would you print onto aluminium? Anyone in the printing industry out there? We need to get these decals made. What's this? Again, it could be, that is aluminium. You can see that it's corroded there. They've screen printed, have they, onto the aluminium? Does anyone know a printer? Are you a printer? Can I send you scans of these? Can you help me get these remade, these decals? On here, have we got aluminium again? This appears to be a vinyl. I don't think that's aluminium. This may clean up. We could try it. Let's quickly get a cloth, just so that we've covered the graphic side of it while you're watching, just so I can catch anybody out there while you're watching that may know a bit of info about this. This one might clean up and might not need any work. Hold on while I steady the camera. Will it clean up? What's wrong with it? Has it faded? Let's have a look. I'll tell you what looks better straight away once you just start cleaning up all the broken glass. It doesn't look too bad. Whoa, the Dynavision's coming up a treat. Oh yeah, it's just like something off the Starship Enterprise, something off Blake 7. I love Dynavision, and that's like a not a billeted aluminium, but look at that aluminium casing they've got there. That's space age, you know. I mean, the Jetsons, I'd be looking to borrow this for a quick tune-up, I'm sure, and I wouldn't want to be around Area 51 with this, because it might just get whisked away quite sharply to one of the hangars and taken apart for serious forensic investigation. Bob Lazar must know all about this. Wow, I really see, now I'm getting excited. Now it's happening. Oh, it's happening. Oh, I can feel it. Yep. Oh, it's all going off. This, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Is that not? Looks like something, you know, on a submarine or something, or just on a spaceship. I can't. That's absolutely Dynavision. I love it. So I'm cracking up. This is the neurons now. Is this one going to be as good? Is that a different screen size, perhaps? I can't quite tell. Is the diameter of these different? And that's why you've got the width. Is it an optical illusion? We need to get... I'm going all over the place here now. I'm not sticking to the narrative. Apologies. I'm aware that I'm doing it. I mean, my brain's starting to go into OCD firing mode. It's going crazy. We're melting down, folks. And this is going to be almost probably a 1 hour continuous take clip with not one edit in it. Now, can I warble on for 1 hour unscripted without having any breaks, completely making it up as I go along? Can we do it? Can Pete pull it off? I know that it's all happening, so can I pull it off? We'll have a good go. Let's just get this measure out and measure the length of it. The diameter of it is 21 centimetres, just over. Is there a mass? I think this is smaller. No, it's exactly this. It's exactly the same. Blooming heck. So what's the difference? How's that getting wider than that one? I just can't see this. Someone broke me tape measure. I can tape measure this up now. It's definitely... I don't know. Someone out there help me why one machine's wider. I can't see where the error is. It's like an optical illusion. Ah, there's a bit. Picked a bit out there. Look. There, that's wider. Look here, it's squashed in. But I don't think they needed to make that cabinet wider. I wonder if it was to get more equipment in the bottom, perhaps. But I really don't think so. You gain a bit there. That's about it. Oh, it's got a drawer. This one's got a drawer. We spotted something. A drawer. No drawer in this one. Look, no goodie drawer in this one. Anyway, let's carry on with the cleaning up bit. Let me move these documents on the floor. We're going to talk you through the documents later on in the film. These documents are very exciting. We have quickly covered them in the previous Crypton video, but we're going to cover them again because they're so exciting. So, these very exciting booklets, if you like that kind of thing. And there's some great history in here as well that we've discovered. Lots of history. There's even a marina service information card for Clarkson. Look, Clarkson, I love that one. Marina servicing data. And I found the Super Vac, which is what's used on the Cortina Mk3. Exact same model by Girling. So we've got the original Super Vac press release brochure. How rare's that? How good's that to have in your Cortina collection? Our biggest enemy will be the battery tonight. Right, So I got all excited and cleaned that up. I was talking about DYNAVISION, the scope that's modular, that fits into the slot. Okay? Here, 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 here. Okay? So that's got here, here, and this one's got Crypton. So somebody's merged. Somebody's merged, folks. Who wants to do a company's house search on that one? The scope does what we want it to do, okay, on both units. We're going to say, for argument's sake, these perform exactly the same. One's a deluxe cabinet. There doesn't seem to be any other features on it. So now then, let's talk about the features. Here, your adjustments for calibrating the voltage deflection. That's to do with getting your exact coil voltage correct. This is just done for calibration. The idea being, once you're done, that cover goes on and shouldn't normally have to be tuned. This happens to be off on this one, probably was me. Here's our test selector, the main key of the machine. Position off, all the way around. So all the various tests that you can do with the machine. So if we just lightly clean this up, and we do think this is screen printed aluminium, can anyone help me with it? And it looks like it might all be screen printed, Ali, by the way. Our VAT gauge. Right, horizontal hold, forget them, because that's just about setting up the scan lines on there. We've got a series of tests, one cylinder, all cylinders, dwell, another one cylinder for secondary pattern and primary pattern. So they've colour coded it red there. Hold on, sorry, I was off screen then. They've colour coded it red and black. Primary pattern is on the 12 volt side of the coil. The secondary pattern is on the spark side of the coil, the HT side, and that's why they do it separately. So by going here, we'd be looking at stuff like points on there, looking at point traces. And when you flick it up to there, it'll swap the input so that it can withstand the higher voltage. And indeed, there's an attenuator here on the leads that stops the high voltage sparking into the machine. And you can see how you tee into your spark plug. I'll show you how you connect up in a sec. So you'd go through your various tests, and then you'd monitor the outputs on here, and it has a feature called Parade, not the men's magazine, but it can put all 4 cylinders, or all 6, depending. I don't know if we've got a cylinder adjuster here on this. Oh, we should have somewhere. Yes, we have. Look, up to 8 cylinders we can check. Look. So you would set that if you had a Jag. That's actually seized on 4 cylinders. That's going to need some WD-40 on it. You've got your volts, 24 volt battery, 12 volt. Off. That pointer's in the wrong place, so needs a little bit of TLC. But you'd set your cylinder up, you'd be going on here and you'd be looking at different traces. And as I said, with the Parade, how it works is, how it can put all 4 cylinders on there without you having to connect all 4 spark plugs up to it, is you use one on the tower or the king lead input to the distributor cap, and it can carry on going because this is a pass-through lead, and you put one very cleverly on spark plug number 1. So you've got 2 T-pieces. One goes on your king lead and one goes on spark number 1. And by just those 2 pieces of information, the machine's got enough, it can calculate out which spark is coming in next. How does it do it? Well, it's quite clever. I've reverse engineered this, and I've gathered the information from various manuals. I'll take this out now, we don't need this. This was when we were doing the other tech video last week, folks. Look how the machine is so quick to connect up, how quickly you can get diagnosing on your Crypton. Look, here's your coil. See, because that's still wet. Oh no, I need to dry that. Hang on. Let's just dry. Let's get this right, because this is quite a bit of interesting info. This. Can I break that? Oh, well, with one hand. Yes, I can. This is quite a bit of interesting info. Look, hold on, let's get the pen. Look, here's your coil. Okay, so that's the output. There's your HT lead, your king lead. And then you've got, sorry, I didn't mean to damage the corner of the coil. You've got your CB and your VE contact breaker. Right, king lead comes out, stick it into the T piece off the Crypton, then let it carry on to the distributor cap. Right? In our case, 4-cylinder. So Crypton machine knows that sparks every 4, because obviously your breaker point's on here on the cam's set with 4 lobes on it, innit? So your breaker point's here, open and close 4 times as that cam rotates, which means coil pulses 4 times. So Crypton machine can count them 4 pulses each revolution of the engine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Firing 1, 2, 3, 4. That's your firing order. Round it goes. Obviously, on a Cortina, it's 1, 3, 4, 2. But whatever the firing order is, that's irrelevant. The point is, you're getting 4 outputs from this contact break, this coil, and the Crypton is measuring the 4 outputs. Now, all it needs to know is whereabouts you are to display this on the screen of the scope. You could display that right on the screen of your scope, and it would look like these pulses of high voltage, like this, 4 in a row. But how would you know which cylinder's which? Easy. You just take spark plug number 1 and give that to the computer, not the computer, but give that to the electronics in the Crypton machine, and it'll start the trace at the beginning only when it sees this one. So this is your sort of marker in point. Then the free one after that must be presented or paraded after that one. So it uses the distributor to point plug 1, and then it adds the next 3 after that, and then it knows where it is. So that means by doing it that way, you've only got 2 leads to connect, and indeed here's the 2 leads that you connect. They're just down here in the machine. Look, there's one. So let's look at how they do it. Look, there's the T piece. So T piece that in. Okay, and here is the other one, the red one. And it shows you quite clearly on the instructions which one is which. One's the tower, the red one I think is spark plug number 1. If it's not, it's the opposite way around. These are insulators here in my hand so that the spark won't go down and blow the machine up. Your HT is only up to that point. That's a resistor there in block, probably some kind of carbon setup going on, or some kind of insulator. Okay, so just with those 2 leads connected in about 1 minute, 20 seconds, not even that, this scope is able to show you the high voltage peaks of anything up to 8-cylinder engine. Now that's quick. Now you might say, what do I want to look at that for? But you can use that to diagnose faults. And a lot of people say to me about Crypton machine, oh, Crypton tune, what a load of old rubbish. It's not a load of old rubbish, it's a diagnostic piece of kit which allows you to then tune your engine. This doesn't tune your engine, this helps you to get there quicker. Now then, sharp-eared, sharp eagle-eyed mechanics, time-served mechanics, just mechanics, can spot it without this, but it enabled a new generation of techs to roll cars in fast. At least this is what it seemed to have gathered. So just 2 leads, and then if you want to do the points, just 2 across your coil. That's all you've got. Those are across your coil, and that is it. You are hooked up. You may have 1 more lead. You've got timing light input here as well for your strobe. There's a test socket K. That might be for an extra set of leads, and I think it is. I think that's for your battery. I think you connect that across the 12 of your battery. I think that might give us a voltage check on here. I'm sure it does. Okay, so you can go across your battery as well. But they certainly go across your coil. And you get a pair there to go across your battery. And that's how it works. So you're connected with just, well, a maximum of 6 connections, but a really quick diagnostic on just 2. if not 4, if I'm wrong, then it's certainly no more than 4 gets you on and in the game. So you'd start your engine up and you'd select, depending on the manual, and there's a sort of flow chart to do it. Here it is. Let's get the flow chart. Look at the flow chart now. Giving you here, this is on the baby model though. Look how they're showing you how to connect everything up, all the relative connections. And you rotate this lovely little wheel here. And the instructions go to another one. It's like one of those games as a kid. And things move around. Can you see this moving around? Showing you what tests to do. So you can use this card. Although, curiously, that's not set for this machine. It's set for the baby machine. But I have got the manual for both machines. I've got manuals for both of these pieces of kit. Okay, so the scope, giving you that important HT information, which then will show stuff like I said, broken leads, poor fuel mixture, knackered spark plugs, incorrectly gapped spark plugs, leaking compression. You can also follow things on your vac gauge. You can follow voltage, RPM, dwell, even ignition advance can be done by using these simple controls. Now, what they've done, that's a standalone instrument. That's a standalone instrument, and that's just the television, and that's a standalone instrument. So it's subsections. It's not all integrated together, and you've got a gas analyzer too there, look. I think that requires a 6-volt battery. It's not powered, it needs a battery inside, and it works off just the air pressure, the ram pressure from your exhaust tube going in. Indeed, the tube for it is just over here. There it is, fitted into the end of our exhaust. I think that's just ram pressure to get it into the analyzer. Don't know how that works, whether it's a Wheatstone bridge or what principle it would be to analyze the CO2, the CO. That's a separate topic. But what I wanted to do was just to show you about those subsystems, and here they are. Of course, you've got 1 meter there as a standalone unit, easier for servicing, so you would disconnect these, making sure you mark them if you were servicing that. Again, the same here. Curiously, these should be marked, they don't seem to be. I would be surprised if they've not marked. Oh, they have numbered them, or have they? No, they haven't numbered those, which is very surprising to me. Extremely surprising. Oh, they have numbered them at the back. They've not numbered them on the cables. Oh yes, they have. Apologies, there they are. They've got cable markers on them with the numbers on. Yeah, they are labelled. So you would take that module out to service it, and in our case, this module is for the volts and the RPM. Now I'm going to presume for that to pick up RPM, it would be reading off the king lead or the contact breaker. Most likely the contact breaker, like your rev counter does on your dashboard. So really that's going to hook up the same way off your volt, your negative switch. If you're negative earth car, it's going to be on the negative side, the contact breaker side, and that's just going to act just like your rev counter on your dashboard. It should be pretty easy to test that and get that running. I'd like to see an RPM come up. Of course, the cylinders of the RPM, this would divide the electronics or the resistor gates, however they've done it, however they've made the cycle divide out. So 4 to 6, that's 20% increase, whatever it is, and then 50% increase, 25% increase, whatever it is. 20% increase, 50% increase on 8 cylinders. I think that's right mathematically. If 2 and 4, the difference between 4 and 6 is a factor of, hang on a sec, to get to 4, I think it's a third more, 1/3 more, that is. So say it's 6, but however, so you would split the way the voltage up, or the pulse frequency coming off your contact breaker up by some kind of division, and that would then scale this to give you the correct RPM, so you can select any engine. You've got a RPM range. If you're going to really scream the revs and you're going to off the dial, flip your range there. That's easy enough to understand. 6, 12, 24. That's easy to understand. So that is pretty much one instrument done. End of. This one, time in advance. This is like a dwell meter, I suppose. Okay, ignition set, not sure what that is yet. Don't know, I'm going to have to read up how to use this, but that is almost a dwell meter. Vat gauge, it'll probably be a nicely calibrated vat gauge that. We can test that with just a simple piece of rubber tube. In fact, I'll do that now. I'm sure that's not stalled. I can probably draw about 10 Hg on my lungs. Let's see what Pete can draw. You can try this at home if you want to, if you've got a vat gauge now. We'll all do this together if you want. See, test your lungs. So everyone ready? After you put your drink down and quaff away on your vac tubes, everyone. I'll give you a chance to get out to your garages. Well, you can go out and do it later on if you want. I'll tell you what I could draw. Let's see what we can do.
This is 58 here. Right, 15 Hg. I can draw 15
Sorry, I can draw 15 Hg. We'll roughly see if these are both the same ballpark. Let's try that again. Pump them lungs, baby.
I think it's fucking correctly right, and that's right.
I can't do any more than that, I was trying to say. 15, they're probably calibrated. I would imagine they're nice and accurate, actually. Okay. Don't be doing that on the exhaust pipe, though. We don't want to be starting the car up and drawing on the car's exhaust pipe. Ooh, what's in here? What's this? Is this another? Yeah, this is another meter, later one, a later gas analyzer. Put that back on there. In fact, didn't we ever check this one? There you go. Let's see if we can do it again. Get ready? Just under. Oh, I better check what my oxygen level's like after doing that. Bloody hell. Better drain all my oxygen. Oh, get my oxymeter. Hang on a sec. I'm cracking up here. Hold on. I bet I'm down to 95. I'm cracking up. Nope, 98. Oh, we're looking alright. 140 on the BPM. What a workout. I should drop to about 50. My BPM is 49. It's a bit low, my BPM. I'll show you that later on. Sometimes 49. A bit low. I get dizzy when I get up, it's that low. But that's another story. I mean, BPM is low. But doctor says it's alright. So now then, where was we? Right, the vat gauge. Synchronization's going to be something to do with his screen, I would have thought. Well, it might not be. We need to check what that is. So that is it. That is it. We'll talk about these lovely books now. Then we'll get the temperature probe out and make sure all the components in here are up to room temp. We're going to switch them on and make sure, well, we'll see what happens. I can't remember. One of these worked and one didn't. I've got a feeling this one did work, although it's never been connected to a car. And that's the subject of the video next week. This video, as you're watching tonight, I'm hoping I'm trying to entertain. I know we're struggling. It's all on lockdown. There's a lot going on, but I just wanted to bring you Crypton City. I just think, do you agree with me that they look space age? Do you agree with it look at least an interesting piece of kit to have in your man cave and garage? It just makes it look like you mean business. So we want to make sure that we can master these. This is what we want to do. We want to become the Crypton master, or one of them. I want to make sure that I can at least get one going in perfect condition. We might repowder coat it. We probably will. We'll repowder coat. We'll get these decals made, strip that down, and rebuild one so it looks like a showpiece. So that's in red and silver. Looks like it might be hammerite, this, in which case we won't be powder coating. We're going to have to spray it. That is hammerite. Didn't know they had hammerite in the 60s. Check on that. If we powder coat that, it isn't going to have the right finish. We're going to have to spray that. This could powder coat. Anyway, that's another topic. Let's look at the books before we go on to firing the machines up. Look what books came with these machines. Look at the history here that you've got. Look at this rare history that's just so joyous to open and read through and look through and learn from and wonder at. So you saw that instruction card there. That was great, wasn't it? And look what we found, a Ford Service Training Notes book. Ah, please, come on. Look at that. So that would be when the techs went to the Ford schools, the little training schools, or if they're around the workshop, they have a little notepad to make notes. You know, big end's gone. Steering rack loose. Stuff like that. Brilliant. And look now, we found this letter from Crypton Equipment Limited when they sold the machine. I might have covered this on previous, sorry if I have. 21st of September 1962, for the attention of Mr. Elsmore. Dear Sirs, we're very pleased to receive your order for a BD116 motorscope to be invoiced through Kerry's, Great Britain Limited of Oxford. Attached to this letter is special information covering 1. Publicity, 2. Training, 3. Application of your equipment. Please study these carefully. Look at that then. I saw a letter coming through and a little motor show badge pinned to it, just telling you to see you at the motor show in case Mr. Elsmore's going to the motor show. So Mr. Elsmore, is he out there? Are you still out there? 1962. Oof, don't know. Of, let's see, Kerry's, Great Britain of Oxford. Kerry's of Oxford, ladies and gentlemen. Is it a Ford dealer? What kind of dealer is Kerry's of Oxford? A little bit of fun for you to find out. Open your other browser window now. You've got your chat window on YouTube or your browser and have a look. Go on and Google that one while we're on. Bit of fun. See if anyone who's the first to come back with that. Service card. Mr. Sims. Now, is that the same? No, Mr. Elsmore. Oh, contact Mr. Sims for service. He must be a local service agent then. Look, and we've got his address here, so if you want to go and ask him any questions, we've got him there. 28th Avenue, Acox Green, Birmingham, 27. Acox Green, 4691. I'm not really giving anything away or disrespect anybody with that because that information would have been public knowledge on a registered list of Crypton dealers, so I'm not giving away personal info, I don't want to thought. Crypton letter then, so someone's bought this in September 62. We don't know which machine it was. Oh, sorry, yeah, we do know which machine it was. It was the BD116, or did we say they were both 116s? This letter goes with one of these machines. I don't know which one. So that was the letter. Some notes about going to the training school for the test motor technician's diploma course. The Crypton course in engine, electrical and battery servicing open up new opportunities for service managers, foremen, mechanics and apprentices to acquire valuable training in the latest scientific method of servicing the automobile of today. They provide practical instruction in the essential principles of the modern high-performance engine and the application of the new methods of electronic equipment now available for fault diagnosis, trouble correction and tuning for best performance. Beautiful stuff that. So we've got that. I've just got someone knocking at the door, so I'm just going to resume that. We lost our complete 1 hour, but I'll join it together. Hold on, I've got a parcel delivery in. Hold on. Sorry about that. My neighbour came around with the Mandalorian DVD. So can't wait to watch that, or file. Great, Mandalorian. Not seen it yet, so I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, I was doing 40 minutes non-stop then, till my lovely neighbour kindly interrupted me. So we saw that Crypton equipment letter, that's great, and the servicing manual there. Love stuff like this. Put some spring into your engine with a Crypton electronic engine tune-up, why not? Costs so little and saves so much. Nice little appointment card there. And then, look, this radar tester, hang on, this radar tester tells the secrets of your car. It looks inside the engine and shows exactly what's going on. And indeed, with that lab coat there, the guy really knows his biscuits. The cathode beam of our new Crypton Haier DYNAVISION tester shows the actual operation of your engine as it is running. A television picture shows with the speed of light what's happening in the engine exactly as it happens. We see not guess. Hey, that doesn't make any sense. We see, comma, not guess if there is trouble. Or should that not be, we see, comma, not guess if there's trouble? Anyway, never mind. See when the trouble is fully corrected, experiments and guesswork are eliminated, you pay only for necessary work and get guaranteed top performance. Come on, look at that lab coat. Look at that wiggle. Look at that wiggle. And now introducing new DYNAVISION from Crypton, a new pattern of automobile servicing. Try your DYNAVISION at a local dealer today. And here we go. Look at this, a new development in automobile service, a revolutionary new service from DYNAVISION. Try DYNAVISION today. Sparkline, coil oscillations, points closed, distributor dwell, points open. It's all going on, says this guy. Asterisk, if you actual suspected trouble, DYNAVISION will show where and what it is. If you want to make certain that engine condition is good, DYNAVISION will conform. If you want best possible performance and lowest petrol consumption, DYNAVISION will give it to you. And all this more quickly and at a lower cost than ever previously possible. A revolutionary new service, folks, from DYNAVISION. Choose DYNAVISION for a new pattern of automobile servicing. And here's the model in green. It's well worth looking into. I love it. These are great little leaflets. And look, the DYNAVISION. Oh my God, I'm there. I'm in Nirvana. The DYNAVISION newspaper. Woody Woodpecker's out for this one. DYNAVISION electronic tune-up paper. Nice one. Cool. Look at these lovely pictures, everybody. Science. Top performance motoring. Look, the guy's going sideways there. Full lock on. I think there's something wrong with your steering on that. There he is again, our lab coat friends. He's shacked up with an old Zodiac there. Wheeled the DYNAVISION in. Man in a raincoat. Could be a flasher. We're not sure. There is all sorts of lovely history on this. Some rusty staples. That's a beautiful little piece of history. And Crypton equipment in Bridgewater, Somerset, England. Okay, are they still there? Are they still going? Where will be Crypton? If they're in, we should be able to find their factory and see if the factory's still there. You never know, the building. I did see a photograph somewhere. It looked like all them 60s buildings. Hey, look, here's some of the gauges, everybody, now. Look, there's that ignition gauge. Oh, hickey, scientific instruments make accurate tests, compression, ignition, carburation, and electrical. And there's no extra cost. These are great. Oh, what we got? What's this car? Is that a Vitesse or a Herald on the right? What's this? A Zephyr? No? Consul? Zodiac? What's that there, folks? Help me out. I'm rubbish with cars. There's a Crypton machine. And that's so 60s, that, isn't it? You remember that sort of font and that kind of pastel against the sort of biscuit colour, cream colour, blue on there with that font typeface, so 60s. The letter spacing there and that exclamation mark font, very 60s looking little brochure there, look. See the way that they did that with those geometric shapes and creams, cyans and magentas and stuff that they used in the 60s. A sort of way of breaking up the brochure, that styling. I think that's really great. I think that was like a really sort of pinnacle of brochure style in the 60s. The way they did it, look at those shapes there, the triangle going across with the cream, blue and white. And the font itself, just the way it's laid out. It's just a lovely little piece of, frame that, you know, and put it sort of behind the machine once we've got it all refurbished. So we went through those. Oh, there's another nice one there. Look at that. What are they telling us about in here? Some little cards, look. Tune-up card, is that what you put in? Battery tune-up. Look at all this info. That's fantastic. Giving you some info on connecting it up there. Service you've always wanted. Crypton at the Monte Carlo Rally here, look. See if I can get you around. Hold on. Crypton at the Monte Carlo Rally. So all sorts. There's a bigger machine. Look, that monster. But that's not got the scope, see. that model's got sort of 3 dial gauges. There's our baby, look. Everything's there. Look, great little bit of history. I mean, it'd be nice to keep all this and sort of frame this out and just present that nicely. Could even put that letter in a frame there if you wanted, and then once the machines are all done, this could be sort of on the wall at the back. We could do it. Where could we do it? Perhaps this wall here, perhaps there when we're finished, you know. Maybe we could. What else? We've got these lovely SO service guides that came in as well. And I've actually got one for Cortina, would you believe? Because it's got all the Ford ones. There it is, Cortina Mk3. And you get all sorts of tech spec stuff, nothing we've not really read before, but laid out in a different way. And that could go on the wall. Probably what we'll do is photocopy that to keep the original, then frame that and pop that on the wall. So that's nice, that's going to go on the wall. A proper SO service guide. Would have preferred it to be Castrol, but never mind, you can't have everything. So there's a great big wad there. Look at that wadge of a lovely wadge of cards for every car. So if you want me to look up your car on there, I will do. Let's take a potpourri, a potluck, and then see if anyone's got the car that I pull out the card. Okay, so I'm going to go for not Ford. Let's just chuck my fingers in there. What's this? Leyland Austin Morris. So Austin Allegro 1100 and 1300. Anyone got one of them? All aggro for the Austin Allegro. So that was just a little quick car jump. Engine test data for 1970. We've also got 71, 69, nice, 68, nice. Just a little wipe down on these, little bit grubby as you'd expect. You could probably work out the year that's mostly thumbed because it's the oldest one. You see the thumb creases there showing 68 being the most thumbed one, and then a grubby factory test and tune-up data card there, nice, Crypton logoed up. That'll probably clean up a little bit, we'll have to be really careful. That's like an alligator, crocodile type skin finish on that. Then some test records, loads of them. So you'd fill this in with your pattern, look if the patterns correspond to what is an acceptable trace on the scope. You tick that little box there, that goes to the customer into their glove box. You've got that with your history of your car, that's nice, and there's a whole wodge of those as well. Talked about that Supervac brochure, and some other girling brochures were in the bottom of the Crypton machines as well. Look, some girling stuff. A little set of contact breaker points for Ford 105E. It's nice in its original box. Some little bits of connectors for using with the machine to help you. Some Leyland, all British Leyland servicing cards, talked about those. The guy, Mr. R.H. Phillips, went to the Roots Group School in London in '69, bloody year of my birth, and he made these notes at Roots. What's he been up to? Cylinder block, engine stand. Someone's making an engine stand or something. So, do anyone know Mr. R.H. Phillips, who went to the Roots Group School in London? A vehicle testing manual from the Road Traffic Ministry of Transport. Some more girling stuff there. All the Crypton engine data tune-up books and tech bulletins. So that guy was obviously paying his way with Crypton, and they were keeping him in the loop. He was paying his dues, and they were keeping him in the loop to send all the tech updates and tech topics. Interesting bedtime reading, that one. I'll be digesting those soon in bed. That'll keep me interested. And this nice piece, Ford passenger cars, probably by coincidence that it was in there, but a very good Consul Cortina tech book, very good, very laid out and not oily, not thumbed. This needs to go to a collector. who's got a console Cortina really. It's not really used for me. So this is a very, very good book. Or it's an eBay job. But that's got to be a rare little item. Look at that wiggle. That's beautiful. So we've got all that tech stuff. We've got all of this. But we're still quite cold on the frames. So I don't really want to risk powering this bad boy to pop up until it's warmed up, which means you don't get to see nothing this video. This would have to be the introduction video, and you're going to have to be kept typical film style in suspense as to, well, I think if you look back on my video, we do see a trace, but I'm going to have this connected to the car and see if we can see how good Ruby, Bramble and Swampy's engines are compared to each other. We can take some video shots, I can do picture in picture for you, and we can compare all the traces on the screen. I'll make a video that's split, so you'll see all 3 cars, all 4 cars if I get Tina G back. With this, split, so you'll have 4 DYNAVISION scopes, when I'll put what they are underneath, Swampy, Ruby, and we'll compare all at the same RPM. So that'll be quite an interesting, fun thing for you to watch when we get one of these machines going. We're hoping that we'll be able to get one going. Now, of course, this is very old technology, and we don't really know what's in this box. You know, really we could do with opening one of these boxes up and having a look what's in it. That's really what we need to do. And there's no guarantee that the trace is going to hold. You might well get the CRT to fire up. There's no guarantee it's going to be locking on and that the input electronics are doing what they should. And in terms of servicing these, I'm going to imagine there'll be a lot of valves in here. They can be reliable. Valves can survive, bizarrely, sometimes more than integrated circuits. I mean, one of the main reasons, other than speed and ease and cost for integrated circuits, was just to reduce the size and well, as I say, the cost. Valves are expensive, but there are some applications where valves are ultimately superior. Typical example being a valve amplifier, where really you'd reach the zenith if you're American, of audio. If you listen to a proper professional valve amplifier, I've got a sort of semi-professional valve amplifier. It's on my Roami jukebox. The sound is very smooth and mellow. It's not as sharp, or these are audio words now, but a valve amplifier sound, there's something special about it. And those valves, they're reliable, okay? There's not as many parts. Yeah, you could say MOSFET amplifiers, you can say, you know, Class A amplifiers and stuff, and all this modern electronics amplifiers, but I don't know. It's like saying to me, listen to an MP3 or listen to vinyl. There's a big difference. MP3 is very clinical compared to vinyl. I think the same with modern amps versus valve amps. So my point being that the valves inside here, we could be lucky if this was a solid state setup, you know, with microchips and some corrosion had got on there. You start struggling, especially if a chip goes bad, or a ROM socket or whatever. Not you'd have a ROM socket on a telly, but you'd have switching ICs and stuff, and you know, power transistors, triacs and stuff. But with the valves, we might get away with it. We might be able to, you know, get the trace, get the signal and lock on. I'm hoping so anyway, because it would be a great thing for you to watch and just see how a Cortina or a Pinto, I mean, anyone with Capris and Escorts are going to be in the same situation where we can see just how the trace of a Ford Pinto engine looks on a Crypton machine. It would never have been done on YouTube. It would be YouTube first. In fact, it may well be a YouTube first to actually have a fully running Crypton machine being filmed in action on an old car. I've not looked on YouTube, but I might go and have a browse while I'm uploading this film and just see if anyone's done what I'm about to do. I don't know what my time scale is for doing the paintwork and the refurbishing work. I don't know what's involved. Have we got some chrome? Yeah, it looks like we've got chrome handles here. So they'll have to go away. That looks like Mazak or something. Can't tell what that is. That looks like a chrome bumper bar on the front, which will be a nice touch when done. And these handles here, look. So, and that could be tricky. That concertina type door could be tricky. Going to have to get that acid dipped, I think. Some of this stuff's going to have to get dipped. Have we got a dent here? It looks like it took an impact there, look. We have got some panel damage here, see? That'll let it down. This one's okay. Perhaps we should go for refurbing the smaller one first, using this as a reference. Let us know what you think about doing the refurbs on these Crypton machines. But basically, the purpose of this this 1 hour, clip was just to prime you up for tonight's live chat, so we had something to talk about. It's not supposed to be some epic video, so don't expect fantastic things. It was really a one-way live chat with some footage thrown in, and now we continue on as if I go live on the laptop. Hopefully I'm going to be going live on the laptop in 15 minutes if I'm not really tired, because last week I was a bit tired and I just think I need an early night tonight. I'd had 3 Peronis and I thought I'll dip it, I'll have a bath and go to bed. So I did that. Might do that this evening, I don't know. We'll see. But DYNAVISION is the place to be. Do you agree with me? This looks space age. Look at that billeted cone casing there. Like I said, I could just expect Buck Rogers to roll into town any minute and blast off with his controls and set them for the heart of the sun. This has been Pete C at Cortina City on a DYNAVISION Crypton machine. Burnout, neuron burnout. Pete C burning out those neurons, going crazy. We'll catch you very soon. For now, we're going to wind it down. You've just listened to 1 hour's rambling from Pete C from Cortina City. Wasn't even a bramble ramble, it was a crypto ramble. We'll catch you soon for the next crypto ramble. When we fire this machine up, I want these to get up to temperature. I want these to dry out. I want these to be really nice and warm. And then I'm going to check them carefully before we plug anything in. We don't want to power surge it. We don't want the cold. Electronics have lower resistance. It could cause all sorts of problems. Let's get these nice and warm. Let's not rush it. Next video, we'll go for it and connect it to a car if we can get that signal trace going. Thanks for watching. I've been Pete C. We shall see you soon. Over and out for now. Krypton. Keep it Krypton, everyone. Good night.